Hey, it's Pokaie, or Talkai, I guess, for this channel. Hi. It's been a while. In case those that actually sub to the channel consistently and watch my videos, I haven't really uploaded a video since the Sonic Frontiers review, and that video all in itself is simply a re-upload from my main channel, Pokaie. I'm sure the majority of the people that watch my channel now are from that main channel, but as like a little just update to this channel. Going into 2023, I want to transform this channel into sort of like a review type channel, mainly because I've noticed that I've started to play games that kind of release on launch day and stuff like that. Case in point, like Sonic Frontiers and Pokemon Scarlet. But I've been starting to play games that fall in line with that same year that they came out. So I figured that why not better way to capitalize on it than reformatting my second channel that's been long dead for at least a few months now into something that I can use as a platform to give my thoughts on these games, because I do genuinely love making reviews and video essays to an extent, but making that type of content on my main channel isn't really doesn't really fit at all. So making it here, I feel like would fit a lot better. But anyways, what are we doing today? Well, basically what I'm doing is I have gathered a list of all the games that I've completed this year, or played generally. Now there are a lot of games that I have played this year apart from these, but I haven't finished them and therefore do not have the proper scope to give them like a proper review. So these are all the games that I've really played either for a good majority of the year, have picked up this year and played and beaten, or have simply just come out this year and I've gone into. Yeah, no, let's get into it. Okay, so starting off is Shovel Knight Dig. Now Shovel Knight Dig, I will admit, is really fun. I got it on the Switch on release day when it was available. I actually pre-ordered the game actually. And it's a really fun game. It's a really fun roguelike game, and I would definitely suggest it to anyone. But me personally, like on a basic tier list, I would say B tier. It's a really fun game and it's addictive, but at the same time, like there's only so much of it you can take. Maybe it's me personally, because I'm not really too strong with the Shovel Knight franchise. I've beaten all the campaigns for the Treasure Trove bundle deal, whatever it is. But overall, Shovel Knight's never really been like a game that I've been like, oh yeah, no, love Shovel Knight, yeah. It's just kind of there's like a gaming icon, similar to like other AAA titles. But the game is still very good. I would say I would definitely recommend this, but the game becomes very stale after like maybe 1 or 2 runs. So for that, I put it in B rank. Next up though is a game that I absolutely love. I got into this game this year thanks to my loving girlfriend, and I fell in love with it. Now Hades 2 is coming out I think later next year, and I'm most likely going to be pre-ordering that and playing that on launch day, because Hades itself is just a really fun roguelike, similar to Shovel Knight Dig like I mentioned earlier, but it's a roguelike game, and I did get this on the Switch, so it does kind of run a little laggy here and there. I've noticed a few frame rate drops and the occasional like graphics mess up here and there, but overall it is such a solid game. Really amazing optimization for the Switch. It's just really freaking good. So for me personally, this has to be like in my top #1 games of this year. Mainly because I just keep returning to it. Like with Shovel Knight Dig, I didn't really return to it that often during the year. But I did notice that I would return consistently to Hades over and over again for like weeks at a time. Moving on though, we have Cult of the Lamb. Now this game I actually pre-ordered and bought kind of like spastically, because I found out what the game was like 3 days before release, and then I pre-ordered it, bought it, played it, and I will say I got it for the Switch. Just a little bit of context, I got it for the Switch, and it's a good game. It's a good game, it's definitely gotten me into the more like Farmville type series, like the more like sim type of games, where it's like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley games like that. I did enjoy that aspect, and I also enjoyed again the roguelike features. I think I'm just a sucker for roguelike games, but the roguelike features of the game are also really fun. But I will say that it is terribly optimized for the Switch. It's a great game, I will admit, but there are a lot of glitches in the game, ranging from villagers placements to like prison people sitting out on the front gate to literal game-breaking glitches. Now I guess a bit of spoiler stuff, I suppose, but in the 4th dungeon type area, there's an enemy spider that goes off the screen and comes back. Basically, what its attack is, right, is it goes off the screen and then lunges at the player when it jumps back into the screen. There's a glitch in the game. I don't know if it's still there. I don't know if it's been patched out or not, because I don't know when the game's actually patched. But there's a very bad glitch in the game, which I would say has broken the game at least 5 different times, or like ended around 5 different times, where the enemy will just go off the screen and not come back. Like the enemy will just permanently stay off the screen, and like, yeah, normally you wait for it, but I waited 10 minutes at one time and it just would not come back. So I ended up having to like reset a run, and it was really annoying. It's like really right at the final room before the boss, and it was annoying. I will admit, I do not like that glitch. It fucking sucks, and I don't think they optimized it or patched it out yet. I'm not entirely sure. But apart from that, I mean, the game runs semi-okay. I've noticed occasional frame rate drops. And like the game's base settings with the screen shake is also kind of annoying, because that kind of really throws you off. But overall, I will say the game is just fun. Like the game as is really fucking fun. But again, it's one of those games when I dig where I just didn't really return to it all that much. Like once I got close to, beating the game and all this game breaking stuff started happening, I just kind of dropped the game. Now I have not yet played this on like the PS5, like the PC, so I don't know if these issues are only selective to the Switch, or if these like are overall issues. But I will say from my experience, it's really bogged it down. So for me, B tier game. Next up though is Overwatch. Now I did play this game on both PC and PS5. With me sticking to PS5 because I suck at console games. I suck at PC games. The game is more so just more Overwatch 1. If Overwatch 1 pissed you off a lot, Overwatch 2 will kind of excel that. A lot of the negative features that Overwatch 1 had are more telling in this game, if anything. The microtransactions and like the whole fucking pay-to-win shit, with like looking characters behind a paywall in the battle pass, is stupid. It's annoying. I think it was really stupid part on Blizzard, to be honest, but the game itself is just more the same stuff. Yeah, there's like less shields in the game, but at the same time, the game is still annoying, I will say. Definitely plays into the whole team-based shooter. It is a fun game, just I would recommend playing it with a lot of friends who can actually fill up a good majority of the team, as opposed to like playing with like 1 or 2 people and the rest being randoms, because it is, I will admit, gets annoying at times. But regardless, I'd put it in like a B tier, honestly, like a instant B tier. Alright, but next up though is the Pathless. Now the Pathless, I got this game on the PS5 when I first got it, and I beat this game like almost immediately. I fell in love with the game. The visual for the game, as you guys can tell from the gameplay right now, looks amazing. I love it. The gameplay is just really fun too. Now, not to take a jab at Sonic Frontiers a little bit, but I will say that Pathless does the open zone method better than any game I've ever seen. Maybe Solar Ash does this better. I don't know yet. I haven't played the game, but Pathless does the whole open zone style better than Bowser's Fury does, and better than Sonic Frontiers does. Because in Sonic Frontiers, it's kind of just like a big barren open map. Like, yeah, you can boost through it, but it doesn't feel intuitive to go across. In the Pathless, like, you're always engaging with the environment by shooting an arrow. And like, you may think that at times it may just feel monotonous and tiring, and well, yeah, I will admit it does. It's in some cases, like if you just really want to beat the game. Overall, the mechanics of just speeding through the map feel really relaxing. It feels rewarding, and it just gives you something to do. Like you're not just going from point A to point B. You're timing your shots piece by piece, to either go faster or get over an obstacle better. Overall, the Pathless, I will say, an amazing game. I definitely recommend this to anybody. And for me personally, S tier game, like absolutely S tier. I never ran into any game-breaking glitches during the game. The game was really well optimized, and the cutscenes are all just really beautiful as well. So yeah, no, S tier game for me. But next up though is a bit more of a controversial game, which is Pokemon Scarlet. Now I will admit, I think I'm done with the Pokemon franchise. I think I'm done, because I'm not even sugarcoat it. The game is terribly optimized. The game runs like shit. Okay, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. The game runs terribly. Even with the latest patch notes out, and even with me moving the system or the game's data to my system memory, which apparently helps boost the game a little bit in some way, the game still runs like a fucking potato. Like the game not only the environment kind of looks shit, I will say. Like, I don't like the environment. It looks like an early PS3 game. Like it's I will admit it's a step up from Legends Arceus, but at the same time, I don't like the way the game looks. The Pokemon designs look amazing, and I love the story. The story is so fucking good for this game. But just the way the game runs, it ruins the experience a little bit. Despite that, I have to say that this is by far the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game since Pokemon Black. Now, for context, I have played Pokemon Black, Pokemon BDSP, Sword, and Sun and Moon. I have not beaten Sun and Moon simply because Sun and Moon was just a very boring game to me and I just didn't want to finish it. But I have beaten all the other games, and I have to say that Scarlet is by far the most fun I've had in a Pokemon game since Pokemon Black. Like Pokemon Black, I fucking loved. That game was always my number one game to go to if I wanted to revisit Pokemon. Scarlet is now my new number one because it is a genuinely fun game. Yet, despite the issues with it, despite everything, right? It's a fun experience, and it is kind of sad that this is my last entry in the series that I will be investing in, because the way I see it, Pokemon is just not sustainable. It's not sustainable as a franchise unless they reboot the entire thing, because what Game Freak's just gonna keep doing is disappointing fans, releasing rushed ass games, and just overall pissing people off, even though even though Pokemon's like the number one franchise in the fucking world, you know? So yeah, like it is a bit of a shame that this is my last game that I will be investing in for the franchise. But I think it's a good send-off. I think that Scarlet is definitely worth your time, worth your money. If you can look past the game-breaking glitches, the visual glitches, all the glitches, it's a fun game. Like, the story genuinely had me caring more than Sonic Frontiers did. And like, I genuinely love the story for this game. So for me, personally, A tier. Also, I think this goes without saying, I played this on the Switch, because obviously the only console that has it. I feel like that goes without saying, but yeah. Moving on though, the next controversial game, Sonic Frontiers. Now, for those that haven't seen my Sonic Frontiers review, I'm just gonna say it. The game's average. The game is very average. And I did play it on the PS5, and even though I played on the PS5, you'd think it'd be very optimized. It's really not at times. I've had times where the game just straight out bugs out. Sonic kind of goes into a wall and doesn't come out. It's not optimized that well. Maybe PC and other consoles run it better, even the Switch maybe, but I doubt it. Frontiers it's a good game. I will admit, I did have fun with it. I did have fun at times, but like I said in my review, you can find on the channel here, the game annoyed me at like every step of the way. It was an experience, but despite all that, I have to say that the game is average as hell. I played through the game like 2 times now, and that second time around was just, it wasn't fun. You know, like you would think that, you know, maybe playing through a game a second time, you know, you get more fun out of it, but no, it was just not. It made me feel worse actually playing the second time around. But overall, I gotta say the game is mid. It's a step in the right direction, I will say, for Sonic. It's a very good step. It's a step in the right direction. It's a step, I'll say that. It could have done so much more, you know. Could have done so much better. And while it is the best game, the best Sonic game that's come out in like the last few years, it's just to me it doesn't live up to the hype. It really does not. Sonic fanboys, eat your heart out in the comments. I really do not care. It's like the most mid game I've played this year, I will say, next to Multiverses, but we'll get to that. But moving on though, Splatoon 3. Now, for those that watch me on the main channel know that I fucking love this game. I live, die, and breathe this game, so much to the point that my main channel is basically centered around this game. And no, Splatoon 3, I'm just gonna say it, S tier. Despite its flaws and despite the issues I have with it on occasion, like the community stuff, it's a very enjoyable game. I do love this game so fucking much. So yeah, A tier. And also I think it goes without saying, but I play this on the Switch. Next up though, Mario Party Superstars. I'm just gonna put it next to Sonic Frontiers in C tier because honestly, the game is fun, question mark. It's fun. But at the same time, it also makes me wanna just punch my friends and family whenever we play this game. Like most of my friends are dickheads. But like the game overall, right? Like it shouldn't be a game you rage at, but it's Mario Party, alright? It's fucking Mario Party. It's a game that like you can have fun winning in like for 5 minutes, and then your dickhead cousin Tyler gives you like a cursed dice block, steals your coins, and then your parents who are playing fucking Wario and Waluigi over there take all your fucking money and stars. You know, like it can become hell so quickly, and every time I play this game, it is so draining to play. I don't know what it is. It is just like once I play this game, I want to avoid it for like the next 5 months, genuinely. But yeah, no, I mean overall it's a decent game, you know, C tier next to Sonic. Moving on though, we have Multiverses, which I'm gonna say it, man, the game fell off. Like it's a fun game. I get the appeal, but I think it shouldn't have been marketed as like, oh, the next big Smash takeover thing, you know? Because like no game's ever gonna take over Smash, you know? Let's be real, you know? Like not Skullgirls, not Street Fighter, not Mortal Kombat, not Tekken. No game is ever gonna dethrone Smash. And I feel like Multiverse's player base really just kind of dropped the ball as well. Like the player base just kind of left the game, as well as the developers, because I feel like the game doesn't really get as many updates as it should be. You know, it shouldn't be, it should normally get consistent updates. From what I can tell, it doesn't get that. But overall, like the game's all right. You know, it's a fun experience to play with friends. But I will say that if you and your friends have Smash, play that instead, because this game just doesn't have that same like oomph and punch that Smash does. Like I guess for example, when you're playing a game of Smash and you're hitting the enemy, right? Like you're hitting your opponent. There's a certain feedback that in your brain that triggers, you know, that's like, oh, I'm hitting them, I'm doing some form of damage. In Multiverse, it feels like you're hitting a sponge that occasionally flies off in one direction every now and again. Like it's a weird feeling, but it just doesn't carry that same spark that Smash does. But for me personally, C tier, honestly. Like it's a mid game. It's all right, you know, it could be very better. But moving on though, we have Teenage, no, I'm not gonna say the name. Shredder's Revenge. You know, Shredder's Revenge. If you don't know what this game is, it's a Ninja Turtles game that came out earlier this year. Now I actually got gifted this game and I played it on the Switch. Oh yeah, for context, by the way, I played Multiverses on PC and PS5. Runs better, or honestly, on PS5 than it does my PC, and that could just do the PC. Moving on, Shredder's Revenge. Yeah, no, I played it on the Switch. It's pretty good. It's well optimized. I'll say that it is well optimized. The game runs pretty nicely, and just don't really play online. I don't know. I played online with friends before, and the servers just kind of shit themselves. Although I think the game does run off of peer-to-peer, that could be just our faults. The game just, it really lags really fucking badly at times. But if you're just playing alone or with your friends or family on the couch, it's a fun game. I will say, it's a fun little beat 'em up game. You know, I definitely return to it every now and again. In the same way I do Shovel Knight Dig and Cult of the Lamb, where it's like, oh, you know, I return to it every now and again and see what the game's like. But personally, I would say that the game has no replay value. Like once you beat this game, that's it. There's no post-game stuff. There's no other, you know, special stuff to do. There's just, you know, get the achievements and level up each character like level 10. That's kind of it. There's not really that much stuff to go through. And yeah, Casey Jones is a nice addition to the game, but I don't feel like going through the game another time just to get Casey leveled up. You know, like it doesn't feel necessary to me. But honestly, I would say it's a good fun experience, but it belongs in B tier next to like Shovel Knight Dig and Overwatch. But I'll tell you what game doesn't belong in B tier though. Going Under. Going Under is another roguelike game. I know I've played a lot of these this year. Holy shit, there's like 4 on the list. Going Under is a roguelike game that is really fucking fun. The soundtrack, mwah, love the fucking soundtrack in this game. The characters are all really cute, and I haven't beaten the game yet, but I figured it was worth throwing in here anyways, because I'm having a lot of fun with it. I actually did return to this game like a few weeks ago, because I saw like a Yakko MN video where he was talking about the game, and it was really fun. I honestly, like, I've had this game since like, what, April, I think? And I haven't really touched it all that much, but like once I saw his video, I was like, oh, okay, forgot how much fun the game could be. It's like I've been playing it very recently, and it's honestly a fun experience. Like I would say, if you don't have the money to get Hades or like Shovel Knight Dig, get Going Under. It's really fucking fun. Instant A tier for me next to Pokemon Scarlet. It's just a fun game overall, honestly. Really a fucking fun game. Alright, but on to the final game on the list is Xenoblade Chronicles. Now, I did play this. Oh, by the way, for context, by the way, played Going Under on the Switch. Pretty well optimized. Loading times are a bit meh, but it's alright. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles, and I did play this on the Switch. I got the definitive edition. The game's alright. I would say it's a good entry-level game for if you want to get into RPGs, or like JRPGs, I guess. Although personally, I would suggest starting with Scarlet Nexus, which I may do a review of in the future, mainly because I just love that game. Best RPG game I've played in years. But Xenoblade it's alright. It really demands you to grind a lot, especially for like the later game, which, you know, is expected. You know, you're not supposed to go from point A to point B, and it is an RPG, but at the same time, the pop-ins I feel like don't help, as much, honestly, because like there's pop-ins in the game that just gave like this big wall of text of like, hey, this is what needs to be done, or like you do this and this is what happens, you know. And it's just a giant wall of text that genuinely I feel like the developers would have done better if they just visually showed you what to do, you know, like give you little text boxes here and there instead of giving you a whole fucking booklet of instructions to read through. Now I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 also does suffer from this, but I haven't really played through that game yet, so I'll get to that next year, I suppose. But I mean, the game though is really fun. The characters, I fucking love the characters in this game. The soundtrack it's all right. It's not something I would listen to in my free time, but it is a good soundtrack. It really fits the game and the tone for the game. But overall, I would say it's like it's a solid B tier, honestly. Solid B's here. The story's good, soundtrack's good, fucking characters are amazing, but I don't know. The game, just something about it just screams, hey, I don't really belong in A or S tier. You know, like I love the game a lot. It's like the only RPG I finished this year, but at the same time, it's it could just be better in some aspects. I think like the banter, if anything, after fights could be better, considering it's the same 3 sets of dialogue every fucking time. It gets annoying very quickly. And I did enjoy the game. I did thoroughly enjoy the game, but at the same time, it just aspects of it could have been so much better. You know, there you go. These are the games that I played this year. Just throwing them all on a tier list, and you know, just showing you guys like what I would suggest playing. Honestly, going into 2023, if you haven't already played any of these games. Now, I will say, out of all these games, my game of the year would have to be Hades. It would have to be Hades, and with like second place going to Pathless. And obviously third place going to like Splatoon, you know, like with like, I think like these top 5 games would be like my top 5 runner-ups for game of the year, honestly. If they could be game of the year. But you know, hope you guys did enjoy. I'm gonna try and do these at the end of the year, every single year. I kind of like this, you know, I like talking about games that I've played over the year and just giving my thoughts on all of them. So definitely do expect this type of video to come around next year towards December. But you know, hope you guys did enjoy. Follow me on Pokaie, my main channel, if you haven't already. I guess follow me on Twitter, like it says there on the bottom. And yeah, I expect a lot of more stuff from me, by the way, going into 2023. A lot more content maybe on this channel. More review-based content, I will say, but more content nonetheless. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys later. Bye bye.